Good morning, everyone. Doug with Lightspeed Voice. How are you? I want to first thank acuCONNECT and everybody on the team for for making this event happen and having Lightspeed Voice as a presenter and sponsor. We're very proud to be here. We think we have some really unique capabilities in the voice side and tying our integration into Acumatica and improve workflow processes. And we're going to talk about some of those communication strategies today for your business, things to consider going forward. And want to, during today's session, we're going to talk about what more than just talk is. It's kind of like our tagline. And I'm going to define that for you. Moving forward, we're going to talk about communication capabilities from the past to present. And what that means to you and give you some ideas of maybe how you think about communications going forward. And then who we are and as not only a voice over IP unified communications platform, but also as the only ISV that fully integrates with Acumatica at a deep level at this point in time. So that said, we'll just jump right into it. By way of introduction, I am Doug Paul.
Not sure what happened, but we totally lost him. Doug, are you there? Your screen, everything is gone. I don't know if you had internet issue or not. Did you have an internet issue?
It seems as though screen sharing had stopped.
Are you using Chrome?
Yes.
Okay.
So just moving forward, can you see it now?
Yes.
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay, excellent. I might have hit something, who knows? But moving forward, there's more than talk, and we wanted to. I kind of want to give you guys an idea of how to think about communication going forward. Right? It's gone are the days of I pick up the phone, I hear a dial tone, and I'm ready to dial 10 digits and speak to somebody, or that it rings and I pick up the phone and I'm speaking to somebody. And we can, look at our back history, right? From way back in the day where we had smoke signals, right? Where we evolved to runners back in the Roman Empire days. And by the way, communication has an influence in society. It's why we run marathons today. We used pigeons, couriers. We developed a telegraph once we were able to put strands of metal wire together. And the U.S. Postal Service, analog phones became an issue, analog fax and paging. You can see there are a number of different ways in which we communicated back in the day, right? What's sad about this slide is that those bottom 4 to 5 capabilities are still used today, right? So it's the oldest technology in the world, yet people aren't really advancing with it. They're not taking advantage of the communications as it relates to things like how do I integrate the backend solutions like Acumatica, right? So that said, I encourage you to go ahead and take our poll and rank the following in terms of your use and preferences. If you go on to our booth, we have a little poll there of 3 or 4 questions, and really it's all about what is your preference, what do you use mostly, what do you prefer to use to communicate with your customers, what you're currently using and as a company, and do they match, right? And also, do you have the capabilities really to communicate in those ways, right? Whether it's fax, email, social media, face-to-face, phone, whatever. But these are really the ways that we communicate today, right? These are more efficient ways. and it'll be very interesting to see. And you need to really start looking at ways in which you can accommodate all of these tools. The question really becomes whether or not in all of these tools, that in these best practices, how all these tools are used, right? Social media, text, email, keeping in touch, phone. You can see there's a lot of activities that are related to these forms of communication. The question becomes not so much whether or not you can communicate, but how are you managing and tracking this communication? And at Lightspeed Voice, uh, uh, literally, we think that if you find a voice over IP service provider, one that has the capabilities to deeply integrate with things like an ERP like acumatica, or a CRM like acumatica CRM. And if you haven't looked at that particular product, I highly encourage you to do so. Companies like yourselves can automate, organize, and remove this manual labor. And it literally equates to numbers to your bottom line performance. You can template workflows and can significantly reduce time. We highly recommend that you avoid the urge to look at or be drawn into the all-in-one solutions. Typically, they're limited in their capability to provide solutions. So that really the trend has been to implement solutions that can be flexible to meet future demands, um, and tie into that back end solution, kicking off an automated workflow processes at at the phone call, right? So I hope that gives some insight. But how we play into that is we are a leading voice over IP and automation provider. We work with different types of software backends, CRMs, management tools, lead management tools, and ERPs such as Acumatica. We're based in Florida with locations in Georgia, Washington, and New Jersey. We employ an entirely based US customer service, support, and engineering team. We build, manage, support, sell, and use all of our products. And we are a nationwide provider doing business in every state of the United States. So we have a lot of success in that area. We've been growing substantially. We're 5 times Fortune 5,000 fastest growing. We lead the industry in customer service and satisfaction. So we've got some accolades to go along with that growth. So I think in terms of the services we provide, our key features and functionality are our integrations, Acumatica, and many more. We provide IVRs and queues, over 45 enterprise features that come into play. And I think one of the most important things is how we've designed and implemented our network, right? So we own all of our infrastructure. We are not a tenant-based solution. We are a custom-built solution for every customer, whether you're 3 users or as far as your number imagination can take you. And the key to that is that infrastructure in terms of support. We can literally lay hands on your server in terms of any kind of customization in terms of a workflow, and that allows us to do deeper and better things with integrations such as Acumatica. It's more than just a screen pop nowadays, right? It's literally taking that call, interacting with the customer, and driving that call and that information into the record of Acumatica. So we'll talk deeper about that, but you can see we have a number of tools you can take advantage of going forward outside of just the integration with Acumatica. So to give you an idea, we have interactive one screen stop for you to manage your communications and visually take a look at it, as well as find reports, manage the environment, all out of one simple place, easy to use, graphical user interface, drop and drag call management capabilities to internal communications and chats, all tied into Acumatica. Our integration with Acumatica is a true two-way data exchange. So when you take advantage of other forms of communication that we talked about earlier, such as text, those texts are not only recorded and put in place under the contact within your Lightspeed Voice Connect solution, it's also being logged and implemented underneath the contact and the customer records within acuMatica. So a pretty powerful tool when you think about it moving forward. This gives you an idea. I thought I'd put this in here to give you an idea of that integration. This is an example, a test site that we put up that relates to our integration. This would be a customer example. And you can see it has all of this regular contact information. And we work really off of the activities. So if I selected on those activities and I went into that particular customer record, this is what I would see. Every call that was logged, inbound or outbound, would be here. And if I clicked on any one of these, I would have this particular link going directly to the recording of that particular conversation, right? So I could listen to it at any time by copying that link and dropping it into a browser. What's important to note about this is we all know that 38% of our conversation that's said via phone, I'm not physically looking at you, you're not physically looking at me, is retained. So 62% of what is being said is lost. That's the average, right? So what we're providing you is the ability to not only work with the customer, but log the call with 100% accuracy. So that relates to cost in terms of off-fall. What I mean by off-fall is that a mistake was made in manufacturing and it created waste product, right? So you can take away those errors and emissions, so to speak, and significantly put money to your bottom line, right, by eliminating those challenges. We also give you that capability to stop the time or get back the time it takes you to recant that conversation. In a 30-minute conversation you have with a customer, in your mind, how long does it take you to go into your CRM, open it up, find the customer record, and then go in and recall what you just said? So keep in mind, 38% of what was said is what you will retain, 62% of it was lost, right? And the time that it takes you. With this type of integration, we're putting that on average 10 minutes back to your bottom line every day per person per call. We also have deepened our integration, so it's stronger than it was in the past. So not only do we provide the screen pop for the customer calling in on the customer record, we also pull up the screen pop to the contacts and your vendors. So now everybody, most everybody in the environment that has a phone or a need to communicate to a customer has the capability to have this integration kick off automatically for them in their environment. And in addition to that, the integration is deep, meaning that it literally I can transfer the call. I speak to a customer at the conclusion of that call. I can literally transfer that call to someone else in the environment. Their screen will pop, and that part of the conversation will also be recorded in the environment. So it's not just one and done on the stop. If that call transferred to 3 or 4 people in the environment, all of that would be recorded within the record of acuMatica. And it doesn't require me to be logged into acuMatica to receive a call. So mobile strategies can be implemented through Lightspeed Voice. The ability to communicate yet keep the relationship between the company and the customer with your representative is critical, and we can provide that. So this gives you an idea of the contacts. So now not only can I record it into the company information, the contact gives a specific contact gives me a call. I can sort and find that information by the person who called me in that environment. So you could have a customer or a vendor who has 10 different contacts, and you wanted to find a particular conversation. It's easy for you to do that. You just select the contacts, find the date and time, listen to the call. So it's very efficient integration and easy to use. So I like to say that this integration, this is where the rubber meets the road. 100% accuracy of what is said is instantly recorded. we save an average of 10 minutes per person per call per day. And the questions that you need to ask yourself is how much would opportunities increase for you with that time given back, and what would the financial impact be to your bottom line? And with that said, we've done some research for people who've implemented these solutions. And if we had an environment in which we had 10 employees using the solution, the average savings is about $54,000 a year, less the cost of the system. Net is $49,200. That's 10 extensions or 10 users making or receiving 10 calls per day at 10 minutes per day, paying them $10 an hour, right? So with the burden rate, that equates to $13.50. So the question that we leave you with is, are you thinking about your voice systems in terms of how it can really impact your business and taking full advantage of automating that process at the phone call? And I appreciate your time. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. And I encourage you to go out to our booth and take our poll. Let us know where you sit in terms of what your preferences are versus what you're currently using, and are they different or are they the same? And please take that poll. And if you want to reach out, please reach out to me at any time at Doug Paul or dpaul@lightspeedvoice.com, or visit us at www.lightspeedvoice.com. Thank you.
And Doug, we do have one question.
Sure.
So what happens when the same phone number is listed under multiple contacts?
So in a contact, so for the time that we run into that most often is a contact will have their business general number. For example, Lightspeed Voice's general number is 941-564-3010, right? So I could be listed under your database there, and so could all of our employees, right? So if I'm calling from that, and that's a caller ID, it's going to pull up the general business contact number and make that call recording. Let me try to go back and show you that first slide that I showed you of the integration. Give me a second. And let me turn this on. But that general customer record, that's where it'll be recorded. With my information, the call recording will go there. Does that make sense?
Tim, let us know if that makes sense or not in the chat, or if you want some more clarification. He said, gotcha.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that we go to contacts now. So most people take advantage of their direct inward dial. So my direct inward dial is 941-564-0031. So if you call me at that direct inward dial, you'll get directly to me, bypass that main number. But if you list me, we can list more than one number. So you can list my main number, my direct inward dial, and my cell phone number if you'd like. Really, with Lightspeed Voice, the need for the cell phone number goes away because we have mobile strategies that can implement, and we hold the call all the way out to the endpoint. So this call recording and the integration with acuMatica fires off automatically. Whether I'm logged into it or not, I could be at Starbucks sitting down doing some work in between appointments, and you call me, that call is being recorded into acuMatica, even though I'm not in it, right? So that is critical. So that number kind of goes away, but you also have the ability for vendors, etc. So you could have a very large corporation with thousands of employees listed under your contacts, and these it'll pull that number to the contact, the primary number, or any one of those three, whatever's you put into acuMatica for that contact. Make sense?
He did say, seems like that's the best that it would be able to do because of how caller ID works.
Yeah, well, we're pulling off the phone number, right? So whatever number's coming in. So if I called you from my desktop phone, it would pull off my direct EID. If I called you well, there's multiple ways to do that. It would come from my DID, but if I called you from the main office and that was pulling, it would pull up that customer record, right? The company record.
And if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them now.
Is everybody enjoying the show?
I know I am.
Yeah, me too. It's been fun learning a lot.
Yes. Okay, well, since there's no other questions, I guess we will wrap things up. Thank you so much for being a sponsor, Doug, and thank you so much for joining this session. And you can go and check out what's happening next in the sessions tab. So
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you very much
everyone.
for having us.